We've always wanted to be in the gold sector. It just the timing didn't work out at the outset of the company when it started 2.5 years ago. At that time, we the founding directors were with B2 Gold as part of the executive team there, and we didn't want to have any conflict of interest between B2 Gold and BeMetals. So we specifically really focused on base metals at the time, and since then, I think that B2 Gold has just completely grown to another level. It's producing over 1 million ounces of gold on an annual basis, and it's a $6 billion company today. So I think that now's a good time for us to get into the gold sector. We've always liked gold, and based on the expertise of our team, we obviously have a lot of knowledge of working in the gold space. But now it really makes sense, and with B2 Gold being the largest shareholder of Kronk, and them coming into the fold, I think that this is perfect timing for us because we get a good, strong cornerstone investor into BeMetals. Obviously, we get the financial backing from B2 Gold as well with a $7.5 million investment from them. And this gives us a really good head start to work on the exploration properties that we're acquiring in Japan, but also for anything new that comes into the fold or comes across our desk, we can look at additional gold projects now. So I think it's a different story because we have quite a diverse portfolio, especially for a junior mining company. We're scattered across now Japan, Zambia, and United States. And I think that gives us a really good or broad exposure to both commodities, but also to jurisdictions. And in this environment, it seems as though gold is going to perform well. And with base metals, I don't think we can go too wrong. I mean, if infrastructure expenditures increase from governments to come out of this pandemic, then base metals should be a terrific place. And so we're in both of those metal sectors. Sure. I mean, we're really excited about the Kato project, especially right now. One of our advisors, Dr. Richard Silto, is one of the most well-known economic geologists in the world. And it was a kind of a funny story, but our CEO, John Wilton, was sitting in Denver actually speaking with Dr. Silto, and said that, there's some gold projects that we might be able to acquire in Japan. And he said, well, I know of one of the best projects in Japan, and it's called Seta River. Unbeknownst to us at the time, Seta River had actually, the project's name had changed to the Kato project. And so Dr. Silto was really intrigued with this project back in the 90s. He was working with the Japanese government to drill this property. And it came up with some very great results, and hasn't really seen a lot of follow-up work. And so when we were acquiring this project, and it became known to us that this was previously called Seta River, and he found out, he was really excited, and he wants to get down to the property again. Obviously, we want to get to the property as soon as possible as well. So it's a great time, I think, for us to get into Japan, and we have an exciting property there. We also have 4 other properties in Japan, but this one is the most advanced. It's been drilled, and it's come up with historically good results. So we just need to get a drill rig down on site and hopefully get to drill that as soon as possible. So I think, at least if you ask anybody, where do you think you're going to find the highest grade gold mine in the world? And probably, unless you're a geologist or into mining, you're not going to guess that Japan is one of those places. And the Hishikari mine is one of the highest grade operating mines, gold mines in the entire world. Its average head grade is between 30 to 40 grams per ton, which is about an ounce per ton. That's exceptional grade, especially when you consider that the average grade in operating mines is probably more like 1 or even less gram per ton. And so you look at 30 to 40 times what your average grade would be in the world. So that certainly is something that really attracted us. If you have something that's high grade, it could be a very economic producer. And so that really intrigued us. It really worked out well because Kronk was one of the early companies to get into Japan and start staking up properties. So they were able to get their hands on this property, and so we're all just excited to get get our hands on this property, and hopefully we can start drilling on it as soon as possible. Yeah, well, it's not exactly a new relationship, so to speak, because our directors are at least three of them are very highly involved with B2 Gold. Myself, I started my career with BeMetals, which was a predecessor to B2 Gold, and then our CEO, John Wilton, also has a strong connection with the team because he was actually part of the exploration team that discovered the Otjikoto gold mine in Namibia. And that project became a 2 million ounce deposit under his watch. And eventually it was sold off to a company called Orex, which then was bought out by B2 Gold. And so now the Otjikoto mine is one of the one of the best producing mines in the portfolio for B2 Gold. So so John has always had a strong connection with the B2 team, myself. And now that we actually have B2 coming in as a strategic investor, also they're one of the largest shareholders, well, one of the largest shareholders of Kronk. There's all kinds of connections now with B2 Gold. And this kind of cements it now, having them as our largest single shareholder. So quite a bit coming up. I would say the first thing we got to do is close the Kronk transaction itself, which should happen any day. We're just waiting for the TSX to give us their blessing. Right after that, we kind of switch gears and look at the South Mountain property, which is a high-grade polymetallic property in Idaho. It is our most advanced property in the portfolio, and we're trying to get a revised resource estimate out on that before the end of this month. So we got not even 2 weeks. So hopefully we should be able to get that done here. Then that gets fed into a preliminary economic assessment for the property, which should be completed by September of this year. And I think that's going to be a really big milestone for us because it's finally going to give us a glimpse into the economics or potential economics for this property. And then from there, we'd probably look at doing either a pre-feasibility or feasibility study for South Mountain. For Pengani, we just brought in a new partner, which is known as Jogmec, and it's a Japanese entity. They're actually coming in with a $1.5 million US investment into the property itself, and that's going to give us one of the biggest budgets for us to drill on the property to date. So we should be getting the drill program started there. I hope by say May or June, and we'll be able to deliver a pretty substantial drill program there. So, and then of course Japan. Once we get into Japan and start to drill there, we should have drill rigs turning on potentially 3 properties by the end of this year. So we should have plenty of news flow coming up kind of towards the fall and onwards.